Hello and welcome to video 3 of module 6. Today's video is about masking and opacity, and we are going to use some of the previous tools that we have learned here in module 6. Those tools are going to be an adjustment layer for color grading. So drag the one that you had created, drag and drop it onto your timeline, extend it to the end of your timeline, and also make sure that you have nested your sequence. Now that we have this adjustment layer here, we are going to learn how to create a mask, and we're going to do it using a color grade. So move over to Lumetri Color. Now I want us to do something extreme so that we can visualize what a mask will do. So just push up your exposure, just push it up kabisa, push it up hadi kama hapo. And then move over to Effects Control, and within Lumetri Color you will find these 3 elements. One of them is create ellipse mask, the other one is create 4-point polygon mask, and a free draw bezier. What happens if I pick this one? So just click on it. Once you click on it, you notice that a circular figure, oval, this is an oval one, they are calling it an ellipse, has been created. Now since this is within the Lumetri Color tab, you notice that the effects that we added here, which was pushing up the exposure, are only within this shape. We had made it very bright, but now it's only bright within the shape that we are in. Now if you click on this mask, you can adjust this one. So what would be a sensible way of working with this mask? Sometimes we want a different color grade around the face. So I might have decided to brighten up my face only. So remember, our exposure has been set to very high to just make sure that we can see what is happening here. So it looks a little bit funny, but that is the whole point. So what can we do with this? Within the mask itself, we have a few options. I want you to move over to your mask feather and move this up until you notice the edge of this mask is not that sharp. Notice now it is a little bit hazy towards the end, but let me undo this so that you can see how it looked. At the beginning, it was almost like a crop effect. The edge was too sharp, but when you adjust your mask feather, you remove that harsh edge. Also, let us see, can we adjust the mask opacity? This is how much of this effect is being applied to the video clip that is underneath it. Grab mask opacity and start reducing. Notice we can adjust the strength of this mask alone, and this mask is carrying the exposure. So let's go back to effects control. Let us adjust. What if I use this? Let me just do that. If I was to do that, let me just put it around there. And then for the mask expansion, you can adjust it to see what it does. You can make the mask a little bit bigger or smaller. So when I bring it this closer, I am bringing it very close to my face. It is not affecting my whole head. So you can still adjust using this. So let me drop this mask until it is only around this area. And then we have an inverted option. The inverted option will do the opposite. It will highlight the area that is outside of this circular mask that we have created. So if I click on it, the area that is going to become very bright is going to be the area that is outside. So let me just push my opacity back first so that you can see that extreme change, and then click inverted. Notice that the outside of that circular mask is what is becoming extremely exposed. So let us first undo that and then drop our mask opacity. Now that we are here, any change that I make to my Lumetri Color tab are only going to affect my face. Let me go back to Lumetri. What if I push up the temperature? Notice which part is becoming yellowish? It's only my face. What if I bring it here? If I make it very cold, which is blue? Only my face. What if I grab my tint and I drop it? Only my face. Only my face is getting affected. So I've noticed that this one can be good if I just push this up a little bit. Let me just make my face a little bit warmer. However, it is good to note that that mask will be static around my face. This works because in this video, I'm not moving a lot. I'm not moving too much outside of those bounds. So let me just push this up again so that you see the mask. If you want to make it a little bit bigger, you can also click on the mask itself and extend it to the sides. So I know my face will be moving around this area. I have just extended this to the area that my face is going to cover. So let me just drop the opacity again. Let me just drop the opacity around there, and then let me just play. We are working on an FL Studio course because you're mixing from start to finish. I want you to just see what I'm trying to achieve here. This is before, and then this is after. Before and after. A very slight change, but sometimes it can mean the difference between your video looking very bland and maybe just uplifting it. I want us to dive into something here called opacity. And opacity is going to be how much an effect is applied onto the layer that is underneath it. Within opacity here, I want you to change this option called blend mode. So just click on it and move to something like multiply. I want you to just observe what changes are going to happen to your video clip as you change through these blend modes. Just go through them and see what changes are happening as you go through these blend modes. At default, this is set to normal. I want to do something extreme with my mask opacity. Let me just push my mask opacity up and then move over to my blend mode here. Change it to something like this and then reduce the opacity. So the opacity for this adjustment layer that we have added here, the area that we had highlighted with our adjustment layer is going to get the whole of that effect, which is this linear band effect. So let me just slightly move it up to there. Remember, these are separate. This opacity is just adjusting itself on the adjustment layer, the whole adjustment layer. This mask within the Lumetri color option is only adjusting this area. So I'm doing that to make the whole of this video slightly darker. And then let me push my mask opacity up, down, up, down, up, down. So if this linear band was applied to my video, you notice that the face is very bland. If I move up the mask opacity, I can brighten up the face a little bit. Let us also add something else. I'm going to go to my computer and find something. Let me just find something here. So I have a folder with what we call light leaks. So let me just grab one and drop it within Premiere Pro. And then I want you to just note what this is. It is just some light moving through a lens, and we call this a light leak. So what do I want to do with it? I want to click on it and then right click on it and select set to frame size. And then a few things we are going to do here, we are going to rotate it. Move over to rotation within your effects control, left click and drag, or you can just click on this and make it 90 and then move over to scale and push up. I want us to watch the video before start to finish because it involves kula. Notice before, because you're mixing from start to finish because it involves kula. Now to make this layer work with our video, we have to change its opacity first and then we have to change its blend mode. I want you to move to your blend mode and try and see what screen can do. Start to finish because it involves kula. Screen seems to work for this situation. It can work, but the opacity is too high, so drop the opacity. Let me try 26. Play. Because you're mixing from start to finish because it involves kula. Remember that this layer here also has a masking option. So if you move through this, let me push the opacity for this one up and play through it. So at this point, when the opacity is at 100%, you notice that it might be getting in the way of some elements in the video. So we can mask that out. Click on this ellipse and then just adjust. So I will select my face. Don't want it to affect my face. I will select my face and then push up the mask feather so that it is not so sharp and then invert it. So this light leak is only going to affect the areas that are outside my face. It is not going to affect my face. So click on it again and you can adjust the mask opacity. Move over to opacity and reduce the opacity of the whole layer. So up to somewhere around there. So let's play. Mixing from start to finish because it involves kulan. Just see it very slightly happening in your video, but it is not affecting your face. And that is it for this video. Practice a lot. Drop as many masks as you can within your video and try and make as many changes as possible. I will see you in the next video.